Hey guys, in this video we try to bring back this pit bike back to life. Alright, so before we even start tearing into this bike and that, we're going to go ahead and soak it down, clean it up. That way we got a clean bike to work with. As you can tell, there's so much grime, oil, whatever you want to call it, grease, all over this bike. So we're going to go ahead and clean it up because it's a mess, and then we can start tearing into it and seeing what all it needs. Alright, so first things first, since this thing don't have an air box, it just has an open filter, we're going to go ahead and cover it with this plastic bag, kind of help prevent water from getting on it. Alright, so I went ahead and just put this plastic bag over the air filter because it doesn't have an air box. The air filter is exposed. And I don't want to drown the air filter because after we wash it, we're going to see if it'll even start up by shooting ether into the carburetor. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and spray this degreaser all over the engine, let it soak a little bit. Same with this purple power. I'm going to just spray the bike down, let it soak for a little bit, and then we'll wash it off and then we'll let it dry. Now we rinse the bike off, we're going to go ahead and take it down into the garage and see if we can get this thing to fire up on starter fluid. And then after that, we're going to take a parts list and see what parts we need to get for this bike. I already have a bunch of parts that will probably work for this bike, but there's going to be parts that I don't have. So, oh no, you can't have that now. But yeah, we'll go ahead and work on that. And this guy's hungry, so we're gonna go feed him. Huh. Can't have this. Alrighty, so we got the pit bike in the house now. I'm gonna go through the pit bike, see what all parts we need, and I'll make a list. As you can tell, this is just looks like a brake lever from, I don't know, XL 75 or whatever, that they flipped upside down to make a clutch lever out of. Missing bolt, the bushing or bearings in here are messed up, they're bad, they're worn out. Plastics are shot, foot pegs are loose, motor's a little loose. The exhaust is creased in pretty well, but I think I can tear this apart and take that out. Those are loose. Kickstarter seems okay. Motor seems like it's lacking compression, so I'm gonna do a compression test on it. Tires look like they're in good shape. That's nice and tight. That one's nice and tight. Looks like a little TLC to loosen that up. It'll be fine. But yep, definitely a project. Let's make a list and then see what all he wants to do with it. This is a guy from work asked me if I'd take a look at it and try to get it running and get a parts list for it. So we're gonna go ahead and do that and see what we can do. Alright, now we got our compression tester hooked up. I went ahead and took a piece of solder, made a nice little loop. That way this can sit right up here. I'll bring you guys in so you can see what we get with the compression. But yep, we'll go ahead and do a compression test. And then we'll look up and see what this motor is supposed to have for compression and see if it's any good. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just keep kicking until the needle stops. looks like 80 psi. Alright, so we'll do this again. See if we get the same result. Got 80 psi again. Alrighty, so I'll do some research, see if 80 psi is correct, or inside the, Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and turn the gas tank off to get to the carburetor and turn the carburetor off and clean it up. Here's my little list I got going. Coolster pitbike, that's the name on the motor. Our brake and clutch lever, the 18 box, steering stem bearings 25, steering or stem nut 5 box, plastic 60, oil 6, and spark plug 5, which I already have one. And I wrote down the compression. I did it 3 times, got 80 psi. Seems low to me. I'm thinking this motor should be more in the hundreds, up in like 120. But we will find out, because we'll go ahead and tear this carburetor off, clean it up. That way we can get fuel through the carb and see if this thing will fire up. We did try shooting ether in the air filter and got a little bit of pop, but that was about it. I'm thinking this motor's toast, but we'll do a little more cleaning up and see what we can get. Alrighty, so we got the carburetor off. We're gonna go ahead and tear this apart. We had to take the gas tank seat off. I went ahead and took this off because this was broken, as you can see. See if I can't super glue that back together. This does work. I was getting spark to the spark plug. This is the hardware that was in there. Not saying this is the original stuff, but this was the hardware that was in, holding the seat and the gas tank and carburetor on that bike. But yep, we're gonna go ahead and tear this carburetor apart, and then we'll throw it in the ultrasonic cleaner. Ooh. Ooh, smells like varnish. Some old stuff in there. Yep, we'll clean it up, put it back on the bike, see if we can't get it to run. Alrighty, the ultrasonic cleaner's ready. Go ahead and drop this in there. We're going to set it for 20 minutes. Alrighty, just pulled it out of the ultrasonic cleaner. They cleaned up very nicely. I'm very pleased. That ultrasonic cleaner is really, really awesome. Still a little bit down there. I'll clean that up a little more, but I'll go ahead and put this thing back together, and then we'll stick it on the bike and see if we can't get that thing to fire up. So I went ahead and put the carburetor back on the bike and put fuel in the gas tank, and even though the compression reading was only getting 80 to 85 psi, the bike does run. I will show you that. So as you can see, the bike does run. I can't find a whole lot of information about the bike, the motor itself I should say, but I'll have to check the valves and just go off like normal specs for these motors. It's just a Chinese 125 engine, so I'll have to go off and just check the valves, see how they look, and that the bike does rev up, and the throttle cable, the whole throttle assembly, it's all pieced together. I mean, this is real stiff. If you hold it there, it just stays. So we could maybe get this torn apart and cleaned up, but probably a whole new throttle system and cables, probably only like 20 bucks. I'll have to look that up. But it does run, even though our compression reading was only getting about 80-85 psi. It does run. So now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and contact the owner, see what he wants to do with the bike. I'll give him a parts list of everything the bike needs, and then everything that the bike needs to run properly. So like, obviously it don't need new plastics to run properly. So I'll leave it up to the owner and see what they say, what they want to do with the bike and that. Alright guys, so that's the end of this video. I would like to say I'm going to start posting 2 times a week, Wednesday, Thursday, one of those days, and on Sunday. It'll give you guys something to watch during the week and something on the weekends. I do have a full-time job and help take care of the family farm, along with trying to make content for you guys. So I am pretty busy. I'm going to try to do it 2 times a week. As you can see from the last video, I got a DJI Phantom 3 drone, and we'll be having more videos with that, and I'm going to try to use that along with our riding videos and stuff like that also. But if you guys have any comments, please leave them down below. Smash that like button. If you guys want to watch the last video, click over here. If you guys want to become a subscriber, click over here. I'll catch you guys next time.